3, 2, 1. What? Are we already recording? Hey, what's up, friends? I'm Darkoburi the Collector, and for this week's video, I've got a huge surprise for you. For this week's video, I've got a huge surprise for you, and that's because we're going to start making wild bets. But the truth is, the bets go from 1950 to 2000, so we won't even be able to win the lottery anymore. But if you're a fan and you recognize this almanac, you already know what we're going to talk about, and obviously it's going to be a huge surprise because what you're seeing here is the autograph of none other than Christopher Lloyd, who just released an awesome Rick and Morty video, so don't miss out because this is going to be epic. And now, the first surprise I have for you is this special edition NECA figure, and we're going to have the name of Dr. M. Brown right here. And honestly, my friend Perelson, who's out there, Peril, big shout out to you. You told me, Master, do more unboxings like this of NECA figures. So, down here we have the name of this piece, and this unboxing is dedicated to you for that awesome suggestion. And without further ado, let's take a look at this mega box, which is honestly an ultimate Dr. Brown, and as we all know, it's from the Back to the Future saga. It's one of those movies that, if you haven't seen it, I honestly don't know what you're doing. Here, right from the front of the box, we have Dr. Brown's desk, played by Christopher Lloyd, who honestly is an amazing character and an inventor who, through a car, the DeLorean, creates time travel. And what he uses, as it says here, Save the Clock Tower, is the lightning bolt that strikes there. What does he do? He lights up and powers the DeLorean so it can travel through time. So, here I'm going to show you a bit of spoilers from the figure, where you can see how Dr. Brown looks, who really is a mad scientist that appears in the movies. For what? To explain to you what's going on. He has his, well, you could say his sidekick, his companion, Marty McFly, someone younger who is always hanging out with him, and by a twist of fate, when they send someone out, he ends up getting into the DeLorean, traveling through time, and honestly, we're going to travel through time too, because when you see this epic figure and do an unboxing, you'll remember this movie, and if you haven't seen it, it'll make you want to watch it. Let's give you a little preview so you can see the figure before the unboxing. And here we bring you, exclusively, Dr. M. Brown, a NECA figure from Back to the Future 2.00. And now, we've taken out our piece here, Dr. Brown, along with all the extra accessories that came with our NECA figure. Let's remember that, as the box says, it's from Back to the Future 1, and we can confirm that by the outfit Dr. Brown is wearing. Let's do a brief analysis of the figure. If you look closely, here's our doctor with his hair completely wild. Let's say it's a kind of blonde color, the same shade they used for the eyebrows here. But check out the detail on this side of his face. It's the bruise he got when he was making repairs on the clock tower to connect the cables. And over here, we have another spectacular detail. On this side, it's from when he was hanging and his pants ripped. They did a great job adding that little detail here too. The outfit our Brown is wearing, if you look, is a trench coat that goes down to about knee level, and underneath he's got his little sweater, just like any good doctor who dresses like the guys from the Big Bang Theory. The pants are nicely tucked in, but what stands out about these figures is that they're made entirely of plastic. It's not like it's fabric, it's just plastic, plain and simple. This is a single piece that's painted this brown color. And check out the little shoes our Dr. M. Brown is wearing. From there, if you look at the back, it's the full trench coat. There aren't any extra parts or accessories for the clothing. And what really caught my attention is that the soles of the shoes have these two holes. Honestly, if I try to stand the figure up, it just ends up falling over. I tried quite a bit to leave it standing like that, which is why I asked for the help of my trusty friend, the box, so you can see all the other pieces that came inside, but the figure just won't stand on its own. Anyway, we're about to do a spectacular close-up so you can check out all the details. But check this out. Here's the house blueprint. Let's say we're good. Let's flip it over, like this, the house blueprint. If you remember, leave a comment about whose house this is right here. And these blueprints are super cool. We also got this key, which honestly is also super cool. The glasses that you put on, if you notice, are now a bit more flexible so you can actually mold them a little to fit the doctor's face. It also comes with an extra face, which is a bit creepier, with the mouth open in shock, like when he sees everything disconnecting and goes, and is left totally surprised. And it comes with a set of interchangeable hands. If you don't want to leave him with the gloves he comes with, it includes an extra set of hands. Each of them has the watch on his wrist. There's a letter that Marty McFly gives him, saying, "Here, read it." And the doctor says, "I'm not going to read it, because if I do, it will change the future, and I don't want to change the future." So, he decides to tear it up. Later, we find out that he didn't actually tear it up. And here is one of the most important pieces. Check out these blueprints of the flux capacitor, this temporal flux device developed by Dr. Emmett Brown, which is what allows the DeLorean to travel through time. And now, without further ado, I present to you this NECA figure of Dr. Emmett Brown. Honestly, it's super incredibly cool, except for the unfortunate fact that it absolutely cannot stand on its very own. But let's meticulously check out all the intricate details of all the various pieces right here on the Darkoburi channel. Let's now fast forward to the very first movie in this series. Why? Because this second item, which is the Almanac, appears in the second movie, Back to the Future Part 2. When Dr. Emmett Brown comes back almost at the end of the first movie, he says, "Let's go. There's a problem with your kid in the future, and we need to fix it." Check out the signature here, Christopher Lloyd. And the other thing I want to show you is, first of all, when you have a signature, over here on this side, they left me a little stamp. What does this little stamp match up with? Even though this is a historic piece, they have to give you this certificate, which is living proof that Christopher Lloyd did, in fact, sign and handle this almanac. So, what happens? This autograph COA, Certificate of Authenticity, is a certificate of authenticity, just like its name says, quiet, you guys. There are two ways to go about this, like I said, in the world of comics and in the world of getting your favorite characters' autographs. There are two options. One, you send it to companies like this one so they can study and evaluate the signature, and they end up telling you whether the signature is real or not. And these other companies are dedicated to being present at the moment the signature is made. They act like an expert witness and certify that the signature belongs to the artist, and then they issue you this certificate. With these COA companies, you can go online, check the certificate number, and it will show you the record and confirm that it was signed by Christopher Lloyd. And literally, this almanac piece is a replica, because inside it contains all the results of all the bets, of all the games that were in the one Biff used to become a millionaire. Let's remember that's what the movie is about, saving that whole future where the villain became ultra-powerful thanks to money. And if you thought I only had one almanac, here I have my second almanac. Honestly, you fell for it. This is the second NECA figure I'm bringing for all of you, and obviously the DeLorean appears on this side, but what matters to us is the name. Earlier I told you the name of this character, Biff Tanner, who appears here on the back. Just check this out. A little mischief starts among everyone, because they travel to the future, but then they go back to the past, and that's why it's called Back to the Future, because they have to go back to the future. I told you that Doc Brown said that Marty McFly's son, who's his friend, is the one in trouble. But what happens after that? Old Biff, because obviously Biff is about the same age as the dad, he was already kind of a washed-up loser, finds this almanac that has all the results of the bets. He steals the DeLorean. Who knows how he knew and had the knowledge that Doc Brown had to try to travel to the past. If you know how he managed to travel to the past, leave it in the comments. I just remembered that he simply stole the DeLorean, pressed all the buttons, pulled off the Ultra Combo, went back to the past, and gave the almanac to the younger Biff Tannen around 1955. And that's when Biff shows up in the news, hitting the lottery jackpot, because he starts knowing all the results of the bets and becomes ultra rich. And now, here is the Biff Tannen figure from Back to the Future 2. Let's remember that he's the villain, and in the future, when they travel to the future for the first time, Doc Brown and Marty McFly help the son. The son had been in an accident and was going to be arrested, but with Marty's intervention, the accident was changed and now Biff's kids got arrested instead. But then, what happened? Marty McFly buys this little almanac in the future, which keeps popping up throughout the whole movie. I think the almanac appears more than any of the characters. But what happens? Doc Brown tells him, throw it away. You shouldn't even keep it as a souvenir. And he says, no, I just want to know, no. And he throws it in the trash. Old Biff shows up, takes it, overhears that they're traveling through time, and goes to his younger self, even roughs him up a bit. For what? So he can give it to him. And he hits the big guy with this almanac that has all the sports results from 1950 to 2000. Like I said, I don't really know how Biff, the old big one, he managed to travel to the past, but he picked 1955, which was a pretty convenient time since the results start in 1950. And this is the look our old Biff has, and if you remember, they really go way back in time and change everything, the whole story. That's when our main character shows up, the one who becomes Calvin Klein. If you remember why he was called Calvin Klein, leave it in the comments. And here we have this Biff, who was in love with Lorraine. But what happens? Lorraine had to fall in love with someone, and obviously, it was Marty McFly's dad. The whole story unfolds like this, with Biff trying to pull off all that drama at school. He was the bully, and honestly, his look totally fits that. Here we have a gray jacket, denim pants, if you notice, very simple, and black shoes. They even added the detail of the socks down here. Very short hair, let's say a bit of a military style, and the face they gave him looks pretty youthful. What these figures have is that their articulation is pretty limited, and you have to struggle a bit to move the parts. It does have articulation here at the knees, hands, and elbows, but it's a bit tricky to get it to stand up. It has the same detail down here. There are two small holes as if there were stands, but if you look at the box, the stand isn't included inside. What we do find are several details. Some extra hands for Biff. Let's remember, he was quite a troublemaker. Here we have another extra face to swap out for Biff. We have, like I mentioned, our almanac, which is a replica. If you look, it's exactly like the one I have over here. Here's the flyer for the school dance. Let's just say it was their prom night. The Enchantment Under the Sea was what their dance was called. And over here I have a little note about the car repair. Remember, McFly was around there, and there was a particular word that really set him off, that made him get into fights. And that's when they'd say, or is it that you're chicken? And at that moment, Marty McFly would always lose his cool. That's when he'd get mad and lose control. He was always calm, except when someone called him chicken. And the detail I love the most, honestly, is this one. This safety box, if you remember, belongs to the school, the one where the principal grabs Biff and says, "Why are you carrying this?" and all that. But the truth is, Biff had "Let's open it up. Let's check out the detail inside." It has these ooh la la magazines with women in skimpy clothing. When Marty McFly steals it from the principal's office, he thought he had gotten the almanac back, but it was just the cover, and inside were these magazines, which is why he got scolded for the ooh la la. And now let's check out the details of the Biff Tannen piece here on the Darkoburi channel. And finally, for the third unboxing in this mega saga, which I've never had the pleasure of featuring here on the Darkoburi channel, we have another piece from Back to the Future 2. But this time it's the character of Marty McFly. Let's remember that first they went to the future. So, let's say this is the Marty McFly from the future. We're going to check out several details. We've already talked about all the spoilers from when they went to the past. Here we see the DeLorean again, and if you look at these NECA pieces, what changes is the front part, which really matches and fits each of the characters. Here, as I mentioned, it's Marty McFly, a very good friend of Doc Brown, and the DeLorean. There was also a dog that appeared in there. If you remember the name of the dog, leave it in the comments. It was Doc Brown's dog, who honestly was always the happy time-traveling companion who went through all the eras. But now, without further ado, before we talk about those epic things, I'm going to show you the Marty McFly figure here on the Darkoburi channel. Let's move on to the piece that, for me, is the most spectacular of this unboxing, which I obviously saved for last, Marty McFly from the future. And of course, we remember again that he gets into another fight because they call him Chicken in the future, just like in the past. Here, Marty is given the outfit that his son was wearing at the moment he was arrested, and Doc Brown was kind enough to buy him the clothes. When Marty starts putting it on, check it out, it's the jeans, which is no big deal. The first spectacular thing is the sneakers. These sneakers right here have their brand, and as soon as you put them on, they lace themselves up. And the other super cool thing is the jacket you're seeing. Like I said, it's a figure made entirely of plastic. At first, the son was wearing the jacket all goofy looking. Here, the sleeves are, well, longer, like when you buy a jacket and it's way too big, or someone gives it to you and jokes that it belonged to someone much bigger. That's how Marty McFly's son was wearing it. But you just pressed a couple of buttons on the jacket and the sleeves would adjust down to your wrists. He also wore that multicolored cap, which he put on along with everything else, and the outfit is just a plain red t-shirt. Check out the face. This is the little detail about these NECA figures that I haven't really liked. The faces aren't made with that much detail. However, the piece itself does have this hyperrealism, and in addition, our hero Marty McFly, let's say hero in quotes, the traveler from the future, the past, the present, and everywhere, comes with several accessories. Here, he's going to lay him down for a bit, rest up. The first thing he does is tell him, you go to the restaurant and obviously have a Pepsi. Pepsi, sponsor us even if it's just with a Pepsi. You'd arrive at the restaurant of the future and, right there at the table, you'd place your order and it would come up from under the table, and inside you'd find your Pepsi. You'd just take the Pepsi, and then the cylinder would go back down through the table. There were these boards that, honestly, were super cool because they could levitate. Remember, he really likes skating, but with this one, he steals it from I can't remember if it was a little girl, and what he does is, well, use it to get out of trouble with Biff. And here they add this detail so you think the skateboard is actually flying. It also comes with this little accessory, And now I finally get why it has these tiny holes, just like Marty McFly's, so you can position him on the board. And the last thing it comes with is just an extra set of hands. It only came with one hand and an alternate face. Now, with all these details, the second Back to the Future movie is complete. And I present to you Marty McFly from the future here on the Darkoburi channel. Since I'm already tired, let's wrap up this epic video with the Almanac. The three NECA figures, which, let me remind you, Alexander Perelson was the one who gave us the idea to bring in figures from this company so you could see the quality and decide whether or not to buy them. If you like the figures or not, please let us know in the comments. I'm just going to show off one last item I have here, obviously, because I am Darkoburi the collector. Here is a certificate of authenticity, and right now, as I just told you, a certificate of authenticity is worthless by itself if you don't have the item in your possession. And of course, I'm going to show off Marty McFly's sneakers signed by none other than Michael J. Fox himself. He's the artist responsible for bringing Marty McFly to life, and I repeat, here it is. If you look closely, there's the signature. This completes our sneakers, which are now seriously awesome. The truth is, we bought them at Universal Studios, and then what happened is we went to have none other than Michael J. Fox sign them for us. And as an extra item, we have this driver's license from our dear friend Calvin Klein, aka Marty McFly. And now I'm going to leave you so I can show off the sneakers, their certificate, and Marty's driver's license here on the Darkoburi channel. Something I didn't show you. Here on my sneaker is the certificate so you can verify that the piece I showed you matches the certificate of authenticity that I've also shown here on the Darkoburi channel. I wouldn't dare try on these Marty McFly sneakers signed by Michael J. Fox. They're going straight into the display cases at the Darkoburi Museum. And remember to subscribe to all our social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on TikTok. You can find me everywhere as Darkoburi. You already know I'm Darkoburi the collector. And don't forget to check out the website darkoburi.com, where you can find mugs, keychains, thermoses, and a ton of collectibles from our Darkoburi brand, perfect as a gift for your best friend or for yourself. And also remember to like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share our video. It really helps us out a lot. Leave a comment, even if it's like this: Mamelon, epic. The truth is that you help us a lot to become more trending. See you next week, and you know Darkoburi, peace out. Darkoburi. Darkoburi.